Inside Out 2 dropped, and I've been seeing way too many Instagram reels about how Riley discovers her freak emotion. Now, I thought this was a movie for all the little bebes, teaching them about their emotions, but I'd never actually seen it. So I decided to do some research, because you can never be too sure nowadays. And I needed to see the kind of content they were feeding to the thousands of small Indian village children that make up my audience. The movie starts with Timu Tinkerbell and her team of Teletubbies in the control room of an autistic girl's brain. We're witnessing Riley's first joyful memory, escaping the pit of hell she endured for 9 long months. And from there we get to see the inception of more and more of her memories throughout the years. All the different emotions influence the way Riley operates, and how lame of a baby they make her be. Even though they all work as a team, it becomes very clear that Joy is the captain of the operation. We also find out that some memories are super special, and basically create some of Riley's main personality traits. All of which have ended up making her a pretty decent person, especially considering how Brainrot, Ratchet, and Sigma, the new generation of babies, has become. Spoilers for later. Everything in Riley's life seems to be going pretty well. Until the big bubbas at the top of the corporate chain make her father homeless in San Francisco after switching up his job. Our colorful cartoon crew starts to fantasize about just how homeless they're gonna be. They are severely underestimating the trap tier of their new house. Once they arrive there, Riley experiences the first of many, many disappointments. A concept which is pretty new to her. There's one thing after another that she doesn't like about the new place. But we're not crashing out just yet, as we find solace playing floor hockey in your new dirty ass house. But that's quickly interrupted by her dad getting called back into work. And more unfamiliar stuff starts to wear down how high she can keep her spirits. But not everything becomes absolutely awful until sadness begins to shift happy memories into sad ones, meaning that Riley has even less to cling on to while going through this stressful situation. With her newfound powers of fucking absolutely everything up, the blue booger goes on a rampage, while everyone else is distracted with trying to make Riley have a good time. She starts rubbing up her grubby paws even on the core memories, and everyone becomes worried about what that would mean for Riley's innate personality. Joy attempts to cheer everybody up by trying to find the silver lining within the whole situation, but it becomes pretty obvious that there isn't much to be glad about, and the others say it might be their turn to finally take the wheel, instead of Joy being the boss all the time. But Joy's a bitch, so she enforces a dictatorship over them, and puts Sadness in a concentration camp. Our first day of school is going as well as it possibly could, until Riley gets called up to the front of the room to introduce herself. Booger changes the memory that Riley's talking about, and makes her so sad that she cries in front of everyone. That shit was so traumatic that it made the first of a new kind of memory. A core one that's sad. This freaks everybody the fuck out, and causes a big fight where every single one of Riley's core memories gets sucked up into a tube, where they'll get launched into deep memory, along with Joy and Sadness themselves. This means that all of Riley's personality traits are missing, along with the person that's been running the show this entire time, and now they're gonna have to figure out how to get by without her. We fall into this big ass pile of Riley's other memories, basically the place that makes up the whole rest of her mind, besides the control room. They realize just how bad the situation can get without them, and jump to trying to get back and fix things immediately. But they've got a long way to go, and Riley's gonna be pretty blank for a while. The other emotions have to take charge for a bit, and they try acting as joyful as they can, but when you're a green piece of snot, that's pretty hard. And Riley starts acting not like her usual joyful self pretty soon. This causes more and more problems as the untrained other emotions try and handle the responses. But they're so not used to being the ones directing things that they end up blowing the situation way up, with how abrasive and inappropriate some of her reactions come off. She gets grounded because of her outburst. And when her dad tries to apologize, he tries playing into one of her key personality traits, acting like a monkey. But because we're in depression mode, monkey mode doesn't turn on. That entire island of personality actually just explodes. And Riley loses the first piece of herself deep down, scaring the fuck out of everybody because they realize that they're on a mission to fix everything before Riley deletes her will to live. The path back to headquarters is super long and confusing, but Sadness did a lot of reading when Joy trapped her in Guantanamo Bay. She actually memorized the entire way back. Now they just have to walk. Or wriggle. Joy finds the booger by following her path of sadness that she created because she couldn't keep her little grubby hands to herself. At some point during the journey, Tinkerbob ends up running into this obese purple elephant, Bing Boing, who's Riley's old imaginary friend from when she was way younger. He's been wandering around homeless since she was like 3, so he actually knows his way around, and he knows a shortcut. They can take the train of thought as a one-way ticket back up there, but first they've got to walk through the squishy zone. Bing Bong swears it's safe, but his big ass was conceived when Riley had the brain of a toddler, so he can't read, and he gets them stuck in the middle of a metaphysical death trap. Meanwhile, back in the less schizophrenic world, Riley has become the weird kid, donning the all-black hoodie with school shooter ones. After barely making it out, they end up regaining their little obesity-headed booger forms, but they ended up missing the train, and they'll have to head to the next station if they want to try and catch it again. But it's another one of Bing Boing's shortcuts, and this time they're cutting through Imagination Land, where they run into Bing Bong's imagination wagon and Riley's imaginary boyfriend, both of which will be key parts of what happens later. Riley's not doing very well with any of the stuff that used to be her favorite. And after fucking up and falling on her face in the middle of a hockey game, she has yet another meltdown that causes her to lose another personality island. And it seems like they're running out of time. Every part of Riley's subconscious is getting demolished, and she's forgetting who she is. And the construction crews in her brain are tearing down and dumping everything, including Bing Bong's whip. After losing his ride, he gets extremely depressed over the fact that he's high-key being forgotten. But this time, everyone, including Joy, realizes that there is no positive in the situation. And she's not able to cheer things up for once by making funny faces and pretending that nothing is wrong. And Sadness actually consoles him by letting him cry it out, which gets him feeling okay enough to get moving again. It's here where they reminisce about memories that we realize that sadness might actually be good for something, and maybe shouldn't be segregated. They end up finding the train right on time, and it seems like everything is on the way to getting resolved. But that's right before this red retard hatches a plan to abandon everything. He's convinced that just by returning home, Riley can just create more core memories to replace the old ones, because that's where it happened the first time, and that definitely means that it'll happen again. It seems like he's completely forgotten the concept of being homeless and eating, because he doesn't take that into consideration at all. Back in Brain World, the train stops running because Riley went to sleep, and these three impatient asses decide to go stage a beheading on stage so that she wakes up, and it goes exactly as planned, until they get imprisoned with the Diddler. In order to rescue Bing Bong and scare Riley so bad that she does actually wake up, they wake up the imprisoned clown whose criminal record is unknown, and lead him right in front of the camera that's being broadcasted into Riley's sleepy brain. It's up and we get moving again, but that also means that she has time to sit with her demons. And we're pulling the trigger on the plan to be homeless. And with a stroke of inspiration, Riley researches the quickest route back to her crack town. Joy and Sadness actually start getting along. Once it becomes obvious that Sadness isn't a terrorist who's trying to dismantle the establishment. She's just annoying, but she still might deserve a seat at the table. Riley gets ready to commit the biggest sin of her entire life, stealing $25. And with that, she's officially become a complete degenerate. The last bit of anything good is gone, and we're fully demonic. And with no structure left to hold onto, the train ends up breaking down on its way to headquarters. Now we're in a race against time between Anger's retarded plan and remembering that we have a stable home life. And things aren't looking too good after Joy falls into the pits of hell because she didn't want to share a seat with the booger, out of fear of cooties and the fear that she'd turn every positive life experience into trauma with her mere presence. This is the part where we realize that Joy is a major bitch because she thinks that she's the most important and that Riley won't be well off without her, even if that means leaving her friend behind forever. Bing Bong's a real one, so he follows her down into the Shadow Realm, and Riley leaves home, walking through the dirty streets of a lonely San Francisco. While she's wallowing down there, Joy picks up an old memory. But this time she looks through the whole thing. She realizes that all these happy moments she thought she was responsible for were only possible because they're way more complex. And you have to be down sometimes to know what it feels like to be up. Now that she sees it's not okay to exile one of the primary emotions, she gets that she was treating sadness way too much like a germ that shouldn't be allowed near anything. She's always been involved, even if they didn't realize it. They find the only possible way out. Bing Bong's pimp machine, and they try singing their hearts out to let it go high enough to let them escape, and they fail over and over and over until OG realizes what has to be done, and he sacrifices his chunky self so that society can prosper. Honestly, one of the realest moments I've ever seen in a movie ever. I almost cried at this shit, and Riley's about to get on her one-way bus to teenage pregnancy. Sadness is having a depressive episode and does not want to go back home. Joy chases her through the wilderness while hatching the last-ditch suicidal plan to get back home. And it's gonna take 1 billion copies of her imaginary boyfriend. Once she packs enough expendable meat in her bag, she makes a giant stack of them and stands on top of her man-meat mountain, where she belly flops off of a trampoline and smacks right into the window. And we finally make it back. But Riley's emotions are still numb AF. So we've got to fix her disorder by making her realize just how dumb this decision is and making her feel so sad about it. And it works. And dumb little girl gets to go back home. Joy stops being a narc and lets Sadness touch the core memories. And even though they turn blue, when she puts them back, they turn Riley back to who she was. She just misses the stuff that she used to have, and she isn't lying to herself over the fact that she doesn't have it anymore. They make something new, and realize that even a sad memory can be a good one. And maybe there is room for more than just one emotion. From now on, everything gets more entwined, and Joy isn't hugging the spotlight nearly as much, leading Riley's whole world to expand. And I think that this movie got something so right that a lot of people nowadays might learn a real lesson from. Are you ready to overanalyze the fuck out of a baby movie?
Please subscribe so that I can eat. And so that you don't miss my new videos. New videos coming real soon. Press that button so you don't miss anything.